Coral Springs Police, come outside! Coral Springs Police, come outside! Coral Springs Police! You're in the house, come outside!
A gunshot rings out. A man collapses to the floor. The shooter, his own wife, the only witness, a 14-year-old boy. On the afternoon of August 31st, 2024, just before the Labor Day holiday, the peaceful neighborhood of Coral Springs, Florida, is abruptly shaken by a murder inside a family home. Police arrive within minutes after receiving a frantic 911 call from a panicked boy. Rushing into the bedroom, officers discover a man lying motionless in a pool of blood, a bullet wound to his chest, no signs of life. A woman steps out from the opposite room, gun still in hand. Denise Nicole Malcolm, 45 years old, neither flees nor cries. Her composure is chillingly calm. Was it an accident, self-defense, or was it calculated murder?
Story. I want to get it from you because you have a right to tell me what's going on.
As the interrogation begins, police gradually realize this wasn't merely a momentary burst of anger. It was an ending quietly crafted over more than a year and a half of separation under the same roof. In the shadows of that troubled marriage,
Maybe a year ago, a month ago,
Who'd you get it from?
pawn shop.
Denise had long been preparing for the moment she would pull the trigger. Denise Nicole Malcolm, born in 1979, was a mother of teenage twin sons. Her family lived in Coral Springs, a quiet city in Broward County, Florida, characterized by tree-lined streets and white fences typical of suburban America. Denise did not work full-time, instead dedicating her days to preparing meals, maintaining an orderly household, and closely overseeing her son's education. To neighbors, she appeared calm, reserved, rarely attending community events, but always polite and considerate. To outsiders, Denise embodied the familiar image of a devoted wife quietly managing her family behind closed doors. Her husband, Rohan Noel Malcolm, 52, was a Jamaican-born engineer who had previously worked in communications before transitioning to electrical engineering. Arriving in the U.S. over 20 years earlier, he settled down, married, and established a stable life in Florida. Known as intelligent, calm, and articulate, Rohan maintained strong connections within the local Jamaican community. As the primary breadwinner, he was frequently busy with work and spent little time at home, yet maintained the public image of a responsible and decent family man. Yet behind their outward stability lay a marriage silently fractured. For more than 18 months, Denise and Rohan had lived separated under one roof. No public acknowledgement, no official statements, and no clear conversations. Intimacy and personal sharing had nearly ceased. Denise slept separately while Rohan maintained his solitary routines. They rarely ate together or engaged in conversation. Life unfolded like a scripted performance sustained by inertia. Outwardly a picture of domestic harmony, inwardly two isolated individuals living parallel, distant, and emotionally cold lives. Denise never expressed her suspicions openly, but doubt had long taken root in her mind. Rohan's frequent late returns, fleeting messages glimpsed on his phone, and unexplained trips formed scattered pieces of a truth she was reluctant to fully confront. According to family members, there were times Denise quietly checked and privately pieced together signs of betrayal. Although she clearly sensed the changes, Denise avoided direct confrontation. She withdrew, remaining silent, wrapping herself in a cocoon of quiet endurance. Yet this silence did not heal the widening divide. Instead, it amplified her growing resentment. And like any cup filled too long, it eventually overflowed. Not because of one final drop, but from everything that had steadily accumulated before. September 2nd, 2024, Labor Day. The Malcolm family visited Sam's Club to shop for groceries, preparing for a backyard BBQ party. To outsiders, they appeared as a family enjoying their holiday, momentarily setting aside everyday tensions and busy routines. But for Denise, the gathering carried deeper expectations. She appeared cheerful and proactive, deliberately showing enthusiasm as if something inside her had softened. Perhaps deep down, Denise wanted to believe things could still be salvaged. After years of silence, maybe if the whole family gathered, shared a simple barbecue meal, Rohan might finally reconsider. But everything fell apart the moment they arrived home. Rohan suddenly announced he would leave that same day, claiming a close friend invited him to Port St. Lucie.
We just planning the barbecue and everything, and then obviously he had this planned it out all along. So the whole barbecue was a lie. So he just made it seem like his friends just called and they're planning some road trip out of town and he's just gonna go for a day or two. What are you talking about? Why you gotta sleep out? I don't understand.
What startled Denise wasn't merely the suddenness, but the small bag he carried. It wasn't his usual work bag or even the bag he occasionally took for midday office naps. This was luggage appropriate for a short trip, and it seemed meticulously packed in advance. Instantly, the suspicion of another woman returned, not for the first time, but clearer now than ever. Denise turned and confronted Rohan. At first, it was just a few pointed questions. Soon their voices rose, tension filling the air. Denise pressed. Rohan denied, sometimes retreating into silence as if overwhelmed by fatigue. Every exchange further wounded Denise, intensifying her sense of insult. She felt angry, betrayed, and heartbroken. All her fragile hopes from that morning reduced to ashes. Rohan stood, prepared to leave, stating he needed to catch his ride with his friend. Denise watched, eyes strained. She said nothing more, simply turned away and walked directly into her bedroom.
The gun in with you, or did you have to go get it?
I don't know.
You went and got it? Where was it?
It's in my room.
There at your bedroom? Did you keep it locked away somewhere?
Yeah, I have a little, came in a little case and then I keep it in the closet.
What kind of case? Like a little black case? They usually come in like little plastic black cases.
That one.
Yeah.
But then I usually hide it in, I have a lot of stuff packed up in my closet. So I usually just hide it behind the stuff, because nobody goes in my closet.
Like a shelf up high? So that's where it was when you went to go get it?
Yeah, I tossed the case in my dirty basket.
The laundry
The
basket?
laundry basket.
She opened the closet, retrieving a .380 semi-automatic handgun carefully hidden beneath layers of old sweaters. It was already loaded, though she couldn't recall exactly when. Gripping it tightly, Denise walked back toward her husband's room. Rohan was still packing. He looked up as she returned. Before he could utter a word, Denise squeezed the trigger. 3 gunshots echoed. Rohan staggered, then collapsed onto the floor. His body lay slumped beside the edge of the bed, blood pooling on the bright tile floor. In the adjacent room, their 14-year-old son, still wearing headphones playing a video game, heard the gunshots clearly. Removing the headphones, he opened the door, panic-stricken, and called 911. "My dad's been shot. My mom's holding a gun." Police arrived swiftly, surrounding the house. Commands to surrender echoed from loudspeakers outside. Denise remained standing silently inside. For a moment, everything froze. The past, the present, everything shattered. Then, another gunshot rang from within the home. Moments later, Denise emerged from the front door, empty-handed, eyes vacant. She silently extended her arms toward the approaching officers, offering no resistance. Her 2 sons were quickly escorted to safety by police. Shielded from the glare of media cameras, the boys were temporarily placed in the care of a local child protection center to await a suitable guardian. From the moment she was handcuffed and brought into the police station, Denise Nicole Malcolm maintained an unsettling composure. She neither screamed nor pleaded for mercy, nor did she resist. Her gaze was not that of someone who had just committed murder in a loss of control, but rather the look of a woman who had endured suppression for far too long, someone finally letting it all pour out. Investigators quickly realized they weren't merely dealing with a murder suspect, but a deeply layered psychological state, one in which years of emotional trauma had been wrapped tightly in silence.
Suspect, get the background info, that type of stuff.
Is it your ex-husband?
Not my husband.
But you're separating. Is that correct? You were getting a divorce? Your son told me you were getting a divorce. You hadn't gotten it yet, though. Okay, just wanted to clarify. You got a good kid, by the way. He's a great kid. He really is. He told me a little bit about the history with you guys.
The interrogation did not begin with accusations. Instead, it opened gently, neutrally, with questions about her marriage, her daily routine, her job, and her children. The purpose was to gauge her emotional state, establish trust, and most importantly, prevent Denise from feeling cornered.
Separately, a year and a half.
So you've been living in 2 different rooms for a year and a half. Not before that?
No, not before that.
Okay, because he wasn't sure.
She didn't evade. Every answer was clear and direct. When asked if Rohan had ever physically abused her, Denise shook her head, calmly stating, "He never laid a hand on me, but I've suffered emotional betrayal for 2 years." No lengthy complaints were needed. This single statement painted a clear picture of the isolation and emotional numbness she'd endured in her marriage.
I'm James, by the way.
He's
I
better
should
looking than I am.
I
Yeah,
should
I'm
introduce
sorry.
myself before I
That's
came
rude of
in.
me to not
I'm
introduce
James.
you. I'm like, I know he's a good looking guy.
Just got this new kick where I'm growing my hair out like your son, so it's like.
As you can tell, it's to my disdain.
I'm the young one.
I'm the old one.
one.
When were you born?
Huh?
What year were you born?
79.
Oh God, I'm still older than everybody. All you young bucks.
I'll take it.
Your watch?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a smartwatch?
Yes.
Once Denise opened up, investigators began to shift their approach, steering the conversation toward the moment of the shooting. They asked about the weapon used, a .380 caliber semi-automatic pistol, compact yet highly lethal at close range. Denise revealed that she had purchased the gun nearly a year earlier, kept it hidden deep within her closet, always loaded, never used. This immediately raised the question: why would a woman who did not live in fear or face threats to her life keep a loaded firearm ready at home? Having established sufficient trust, investigators moved to the final, most crucial stage, reconstructing the entire sequence of events. The question posed was neither aggressive nor coercive, simply, what really happened inside that house? Denise remained silent for a few seconds. Her expression didn't change, though her breathing became heavier. Then she began to speak. Denise admitted that morning, following their argument, she walked to her room, opened the closet, retrieved the gun, and returned to Rohan's bedroom as if on reflex. There was no struggle, no threats exchanged. She vividly recalled his position, his back turned to the door, and she fired immediately upon entering. The first shot hit his shoulder, knocking him to the floor. When investigators asked about the final gunshot, the one officers heard upon arriving at the scene, Denise initially fell silent. Then she confessed. At that moment, she had turned back, closed the door, approached Rohan closely, and fired once more, at extremely close range, directly into his head. She revealed she had considered suicide, contemplating turning the gun on herself after the initial shots. But upon hearing Rohan mutter something weak and indistinct, she changed her mind. What had prevented her from choosing death? Was it fear? Survival instinct? Or perhaps the realization that if she died, no one would ever truly grasp her pain? Asked why she pulled the trigger one last time,
And started giving you commands. They heard one more pop. One more loud bang. What was that? Denise, I know what it is. I just need you to get it off your chest. Look at me. Don't let it eat you up. Get it off your chest. You'll sleep better. You'll live better. Talk to me. Look at me. Denise. Hey. Look at me. I'm right here. Hey. Tell me.
You shouldn't have lied. You should just let us divorce.
But why the last shot? Was he... Did he say something to you that really pissed you off at the last time? Where'd you shoot him? It's okay, you can tell us.
Denise replied it was the only way to release all the hurt. It wasn't about revenge, it was about decisively ending a pain without form. invisible to others, unacknowledged, and never healed. Even more chillingly, Denise confessed she had considered shooting another person. That revelation froze the air in the interrogation room. Who was the intended second target? Was it the other woman she suspected? Was it herself? Denise said nothing more, but the lines separating victim and perpetrator, suffering and violence, emotional wounds and lethal actions had become frighteningly thin. Perhaps she acted impulsively, but this was not a mindless shooting. From the loaded gun carefully hidden, to her deliberate approach and close-range shots culminating in the final execution-style bullet, everything indicated conscious action formed from months of accumulated emotional injury. A spontaneous act, yes, but not uncontrolled, and that alone was enough to shift this case from emotional impulse to premeditated murder. Immediately after being arrested at the scene, Denise Nicole Malcolm was taken to the Broward County Detention Center and formally charged at the Florida Court of Jurisdiction. Prosecutors initially pursued a first-degree murder charge, the most serious crime under criminal law, arguing that her actions were premeditated, intentional, and insufficiently provoked to justify homicide. Denise was denied bail due to the severity of her actions, potential danger to others, and notably because the incident had occurred in front of her children, young witnesses vulnerable to profound psychological trauma. However, after nearly a year of detention, extensive interrogations, psychological evaluations, and legal negotiations, Denise Nicole Malcolm agreed to a plea deal on June 11, 2025. Under the agreement, she pleaded guilty to second-degree murder with a firearm. This lesser charge, while still carrying significant penalties, acknowledged that her actions stemmed from an emotional outburst rather than a calculated murder plot. The court sentenced Denise to 21 years in prison, with credit for 285 days already served. Additionally, she was ordered to pay $2,500 to the Crime Compensation Trust Fund, a financial restitution intended to support victims or families affected by severe crimes. Most importantly, the two children, who had witnessed their father collapse and their mother handcuffed in what was once their family home, were not permitted to remain under Denise's care. Custody was granted to extended family members, ensuring the boys a stable environment where they could emotionally recover from this devastating trauma inflicted by their closest loved ones. The Denise Nicole Malcolm case did not simply conclude with a 21-year prison sentence. It left behind a deep, sobering mark on society's understanding of quiet fractures within marriage, silent injuries that accumulate over time, eventually exploding into tragedy. Denise did not kill out of an inexplicable momentary anger. She did not meticulously plan her husband's death, yet neither did she act wholly without awareness. Each gunshot represented a belated act of defiance, not just against Rohan personally, but against a prolonged sense of abandonment, neglect, and marginalization in her own home. This tragedy might have been preventable if someone had recognized the subtle cracks in their relationship earlier. If Denise had been heard, offered guidance, and provided a path out rather than being left to quietly endure, swallowing resentment in desperate silence.